Mick and Charles, they light the flame. Cigars in hand, never playing tame. Pour the whiskey, let it burn real slow. On the Real Smoke Podcast, the stories flow. Guess they're rolling with a spark in their eyes, talking life's truths and throwing lies. Laughter crackles like a fire alive. Cuba to Kentucky, they always thrive. Real smoke rises in the air tonight. Whiskey's bold, they keep it tight. Stories spark like a flaming glow. Mick and Charles stealing the show.
Welcome to the Real Smoke Podcast with your host, Mick and Charles, the podcast that's all about real people, real cigars, and real smoke. Coming to you live from the Real Smoke Virtual Cigar Lounge, bringing you the best of cigars, whiskey, and all the good times in between. This is more than just a podcast, it's a community of cigar lovers. So grab your favorite smoke, pour a drink, and join us as we dive into all things cigars, whiskey, and just having a damn good time. This is the Real Smoke Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 25 of the Real Smoke Podcast. We are your host. That guy over that way, that's Mick. Say hi, Mick.
Hi, Mick.
Hi, Mick.
Hi.
Oh, hi. I'm Charles. Once again, we are your host, and we have an awesome episode for you guys today. We have Greg Free with Fortaleza y Libre Cigars on. We have, what else we got? We got some giveaways to give away.
Stuff.
Yes. We got stuff. We have Palooza to talk about.
It's going to be great, man.
It's going to be wonderful. We're going to smoke us a good cigar.
Hell yeah.
Was it a good cigar or was it a great cigar? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Stick around for the review, but this is like probably the first time I pre-smoked a cigar because of Rain-A-Geddon in Memphis.
Rain-A-Geddon.
It has not stopped. We already got like 6 inches here plus of rain in a day and a half.
That's what she said.
That is what she said. And we're looking forward to 6.5 more. Also what she said. So yeah, it's pretty bad.
Double team. Yeah, I watched all the weather come in. Where you live is where my wife's family's from. So out towards Memphis, I watched last night and kept track of all the storms coming up through there. And it was insane. Arkansas, Indiana, Ohio, here in Tennessee. There was a lot of people who saw tornadoes and a lot of devastation, a lot of stuff tore up. So our thoughts are with everybody who's gone through that one. And Tennessee's just going to be rocked by a lot of heavy winds and water for the next few days. So we're not supposed to get it till Saturday. It's supposed to be 90-some degrees Saturday, but it's supposed to be 100% rain and 70-mile-an-hour winds. So it's going to be stupid up here.
Wow. Yeah, man. It's definitely thoughts and prayers with the people out here, man. It's crazy. A bunch of tornadoes actually touched down. One of my employees sent me a video last night. He lives like in the middle of a field, and he actually watched one go by him last night. He sent me a video, and the tornado whistles were going off all night around here. So it's a crazy time. They're saying it's like a once in a lifetime storm coming through here. And lucky I'm here to watch it, I guess.
I was about to say, that's what they kind of said when the hurricane went through here and destroyed eastern Tennessee and North Carolina. So, but before we get everything started, we do have to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, and that's the Cigar Vault Oakdale. Let's hear from them.
The Real Smoke Podcast is brought to you by the Cigar Vault Oakdale, your ultimate destination for premium cigars and unforgettable experiences. Whether you're a seasoned aficionado or just starting your cigar journey, they've got you covered. Find them on Instagram at Cigar Vault Oakdale or online at thecigarvault.com. Here's a treat for our listeners. Use promo code RealSmoke to save 10% on your next order. Let the Cigar Vault Oakdale unlock your next great cigar.
Still absolutely love that tagline.
Absolutely love it.
Genius, huge thanks to Cigar Vault in Oakdale. We greatly appreciate everything that you guys do. So what do you got first on your list? Anything going on?
So I'm sure it's on your list as well, but we are back to 2,000 followers on Instagram, which is awesome. Thank you, everybody. I checked it out, and I'm pretty sure it was Spanish Cedar Cigar Club. So there's not a lot of information listed on Instagram for Spanish Cedar Cigar Club. I was going to reach out to them, didn't have a chance yet. But if you happen to be on here tonight, let us know, and we'll send a little something your way. We appreciate you.
Yeah, it's how long is it taking us to get back to at least 2,000?
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
Why does it seem so much longer than that?
It does, just because we started from 0 again when we were going to hit 5,000. That's probably why. But yeah, we're getting there, man.
Yeah, we're getting there. So thanks to everybody who has who's now following us on Instagram. The first thing on my list was that one, but also we are now on Facebook. So if you are a Facebook person and you like Facebook more than Instagram, go check us out on Facebook. Just check out the Real Smoke podcast, and we're on there. And Mick runs the Instagram, and I'll be running the Facebook page. So my plan for the Facebook page is just to put information out there and to do things, because on Facebook you can, if you say, hey, what are you smoking? People can post, images back, and you can actually have, conversation a lot better, a lot easier than you can on Instagram. So guys, join us on Facebook, and we'll do our best to create some kind of little community out that way. So
I will also give a little selfless plug here. I need one more follower for 6,000 on Real Minutes. It's only taken me 5 years to get there. So if you're still not yet following Real Minutes, hit that button. Also, like you mentioned with Facebook, I'm also doing the Twitter side. We're trying to hit all social media. And it's weird how there's different crowds in every form of social media. Like it's just different people that like the different formats and whatever. I started at Twitter. We have 200 more followers on there, which are 200 people that we may not have reached if we wouldn't have started that. So it's pretty cool to interact with them as well. And my last little plug for our cool numbers to keep rising. Ish's video, Banff Cigars, is going to hit 500 probably now or tonight at some point, which is crazy. 500 views on Rumble, man. It's awesome, man.
Well, going on to Rumble and YouTube, I was looking at the stats today. On YouTube, I believe it may be on both, but I know on YouTube, we have to give a huge shout out to our ladies from last month.
Oh, yeah.
3 out of 4 of them are in the top 10. 2 of them are in the top 3.
In only a couple of weeks.
In only a couple of weeks. They're beating people. They are beating people's. Their views are beating people who's been on there. They beat Matt Booth's views. That was huge because his views jumped right above everybody else's. Within 2 days. After he shut us down, he just took over. But all of theirs have done really well. So, but yeah, Ish is.
Yeah, just killing it.
Yeah,
people love Ish, man. Yeah. Uncle Ish.
Let's see. So Hatpalooza is back. I did pick a winner for last week's. I just screenshotted it right before the show. I told Mick that I was a complete cluster for the last few days. Haven't been able to do much. And I'm that dog who's running around right now chasing his own tail and doesn't even realize it. So but we did pick a winner. I will go ahead and post that tomorrow. May even post it tonight while I do all the post interview stuff. But we do have Hatpalooza. I think it's 11, 12, 13, something like that. We do have the new one going out. And I am rocking the version 1.0. There it is. Of our guest tonight. Might as well work version 2.0. Because Hatpalooza for this time is going to be Fortaleza y Libre cigars. So that'll be going out sometime next week. Again, either tonight or tomorrow. I'll go ahead and post the winner. I had to check twice to make sure the winner was who it was because we cracked jokes about who should be the winner. Holy crap.
No way.
He was the winner. He had so many entries that, I could have probably rolled 2 or 3 times and it could have come up his name. But great. He was the winner.
That's funny. So you don't have to steal the wife's anymore.
No, he doesn't. So we'll post that up there tomorrow. And the last little thing that I've got to post to talk about is we had Sin Coburn of Dissident Cigars on a few weeks ago. She was part of the Female Domination Month. And she was talking about her husband, Josh, who does a lot of motivational speaking, or he did. And we kind of I started doing, his little motivational things again. And we've had quite a few people pick it up and start doing it again. Well, she happened to say that, back in the day, Josh wrote a couple of books. And we asked, how could we get that? And she's like, yeah, there's no way, we don't even have them or whatever. Look who found one at a used bookstore online. Even had the little bitty price taggy on there. But I sent her a picture of it and said, look what I've got. It's on its way. So Inspiration on Demand by Joshua Coburn. I'll be playing around with that. I'll be reading that and having some fun with it. So I'm excited. I did find a few other online audiobooks that they've done with him. And so I'll be getting some of those, but there may be the book that she talked about she didn't want to name the name and was like, this one was a little out there. I think I may have a trace on how to get that one.
Nice.
I'm currently working on it, but
nice.
She's right. The name will it'll make you go, okay, got to read this one.
Okay. I guess the last thing I got on my list is how about your Braves, man? How are they doing so far? I'm just all right. Let's bring on the guest.
The Brave Fox Sports just posted an image yesterday, and I sent it to you and said there is only one team left in Major League Baseball that has yet to win a game, and it's the Atlanta Braves. And then they started posting all the stats, how long it had been since the Braves went 0-5 or 0-6 or 0-7. And they just keep blowing it. I mean, they were playing the Dodgers, and it's like, oh, they're playing pretty good. And then here comes the Dodgers, just knock a walk-off home run. And it's like,
bro, because I love you, I didn't even have the heart to message you last night. I saw they were winning 5-0 last time I checked my phone, and I looked back and they lost 6-5, and I'm like, I can't even message him, man. It's a long season, bro. But that was ugly. That was really ugly.
Oh, it's going to be a really long season. I mean, I'm thinking we're back in the 80s, and I'm watching Braves growing up as a kid. They can't win. All right, so let's get back on to better news. I knew you love to bring me down, but let's bring on the guest tonight.
Let's do it.
He is the owner of Fortaleza y Libre Cigars. He's going to correct me on it, I hope. Let's bring on Mr. Greg Free. How close did I get? Fortaleza. Your mic.
Libre.
Hit your mic. There you go.
Yeah, you were close. You're closer than some and worse than others. So it's it's Spanish. It's like another language. They have a different word for everything. So
sometimes they have the same word that means a lot of the same stuff or different things. Exactly. One word for many things.
Yeah, so it's Fortaleza y Libre.
Fortaleza y Libre. Cool.
Yeah, and really you would get rid of the E in this case and just say Fortaleza Libre, just because everyone knows what it means.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Don't ask me 5 minutes from now, but awesome. Well done, sir. Well done.
Well, first, before we get into things, I'm going to say thank you. You were one of the first people who jumped on the Hatpalooza thing and sent in some hats and things like that to be able to give away to people. So that is going to be late part of this week, early next week. We always do it the last half of the week into the weekend kind of the deal. So it's exciting that we'll be able to give away, one of your hats. But we'll get into that one a little bit later because we just got breaking news on that one.
Limited edition.
Yeah, it's limited edition, very limited.
Yes.
So I almost brought that up in the pre-thing, but I didn't want to take the fire. So we'll.
I was about to say I almost said something too, and it's like, nah, we're going to get into it later. We'll talk about it. So, go ahead, bud.
No, I was just going to say, man, it's been a minute since we talked to you, and you were on the TriStar Herf a couple times, and we've always enjoyed your sticks, man. But like Charles was going to say, man, we'll take it back a few years, but we're super excited to have you on, man.
Awesome. Happy to be here, guys. Really excited.
Before, I mean, we're jumping the gun a little bit, but it's been exciting to watch your growth. Because we had you on years ago. I think we may have even been with a previous club when we had you on. So it's been a while. So just like Mick said, we like to take it back quite a bit. Let's talk about growing up. Where did you grow up? How'd you grow up? Tell us all about the young Greg.
Wow, I'll try to compress it a little bit because it's 58 years of history. But the first 18, I grew up on a horse farm in central Maryland in a little town called Liberty Town. My dad traded horses for a living, amongst other things. He did landscaping too, but his big thing was he was a horse trader. He traded rodeo and trail horses. So I have a lot of experience riding horses that are green and breaking horses, and ultimately went on into the rodeo, and that was kind of my thing, hence the bull logo, and all of our cigars being named after, or at least inspired by bull names, famous bulls from back when I was a kid mostly. So grew up on that farm, went to a little small town high school, was in the Future Farmers of America. My dad had a business called Marriage in a Carriage, so I would work out buggy horses every Friday night to go watch the football games at my high school. I'd take a horse and buggy there, and all that brought their muscle cars were shocked to find out that the girls would rather pet my horse than ride in their car. So I knew I was going to be a farmer. I worked on a dairy farm across the street. I went to University of Maryland for horticulture. Needed health insurance while I was there, so I got a job at a local retail grocery store called Giant Food. And they invited me to enter their management training program. Did that, became a store manager, left after 10 years because I had a daughter. And then I went into government contracting right here in the DC area, where it seems like all your money goes so that the government can spend it. And they spent it on me. So I did a lot of recruiting for government contractors for 25 years. And then, let's see, it's been 3 years now. I went full time in the cigar company. So that's kind of the brief history.
Okay, you wrapped a lot up there, man. So let's revisit a little. So I actually grew up in Pennsylvania myself. So wow, lights are flickering. Cool. It's still storming like a mother here. So bear with me. If I disappear, I'll be okay. But no. So you said horse and buggy. So go back to that a little bit, man. So you actually drove a horse and buggy to football games.
Yeah, I would take a Surrey with the fringe on top, like the one from Oklahoma with patent leather fenders and the little fringe around the rooftop with, 3 bench seats, one for the driver up front and then 2 other seats for passengers. And that was the heaviest buggy we had, other than we had an Amish market wagon too. But we would, I did things that some of my age shouldn't have done. I mean, we went to get our Christmas tree in a horse and buggy with a handsaw, and we dragged the tree back to the farm and put it up in the house. And working on a dairy farm, just my exposure to all those things. But you mentioned Pennsylvania. When I was a kid, my parents were both from Pennsylvania, Williamsport and Montoursville, right in central PA. So every summer I spent a month up there, so that 2 weeks with each set of grandparents, and really Pennsylvania was kind of my summer home.
I was 45 minutes from there, man. I was around the Selinsgrove area, so about an hour north of Harrisburg. So I was very close. I coached soccer up there, and it was definitely home for me for 45 years until I moved to Memphis, which, talk about a culture shock. But here we are.
Definitely, yeah. So it was, Pennsylvania is kind of my second home. In some of my recent blends, we've been using Pennsylvania tobacco, just kind of pay homage to, my heritage.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of good broadleaf up there for sure.
Yep.
So you said you got into government contracting. What did you do for the government? I mean, what was your job?
So I worked for a company that supported the federal government. Actually, 2 major jobs. One at a big company called Mantech International. And I started as a recruiter. So I would hire people that would then go on a contract to support the government to do the work the government didn't have the capability or the assets to do. So I would hire someone who was say, an Army technician, and then they would go support a contract providing technician support to a federal agency or to the Army directly. So it's just basically I was like this multi-level hiring process. And the way government contracting works is you bid on a contract to solve a problem they can't solve, and then you staff that project, and all of your people go then to work for the government, sometimes on site, sometimes on our own site, basically providing a solution. So mostly, Mantech International was mostly military and intel, and then the next company I went to was mostly human resources and contracts management.
So you're in government contracting. You're working as a recruiter. Where'd you go after that? What was your next stint?
So after, my next stint was this company. So I started this company, while I was still working in government contracting. So we got our first cigars in the country in 2019. And then in 2021, I went full-time with the company. It's hard enough to build a cigar brand when you're full-time, but it's impossible when you're not full-time. So we see a lot of people coming into business thinking that, it's just kind of a side gig. But they quickly realize that unless they can make money in it and go full time, then you won't find success. You won't last long. It's a tough business. It's not all the glamour and money that people think it is. But I was willing to take a risk, and I did, and I'm still here.
So how did you get into the cigar part of it? If you're working as a recruiter, what got you into thinking, okay, I'm going to start, a cigar company?
Well, I'd heard the rumors that in order to have $1 million after 5 years in the cigar industry, you better start with $1 million. And apparently that rumor wasn't true. You need to start with 2 million to be left with $1 million after 5 years. But I thought, what can I do that will follow my passion and make no money, but really have a great time? And, being a cigar smoker since 1992, yes, that's true. I'm not 30 years old. I know I look it, but 1992, I started smoking cigars. And I just, kept growing this fine appreciation for the art of cigars, and decided, in 2013, decided I was going to start putting some money aside. And then over 6 years, I was putting money aside, plus getting my tobacco importer's license, setting up the corporation, getting all of the kind of the ducks in a row to be able to do what I wanted to do, which was import my own cigars, manufacture them in another country, bring them in, and start my brand off. So it's really always been just about passion. And thank God it wasn't always about making money, because it's, like I said, it's hard in this business.
Yeah, no doubt. We've heard pretty much every brand owner say that when they're on here about how hard it is. And I never expected it that it'd be easy, but it's awesome to see the pride that you take in yours. Cause like Charles said, the quality of your cigars are outstanding. We've always enjoyed them from day one. So I also read somewhere that you originally started smoking cigars to keep the mosquitoes away. I'm not sure where I read it. I tried to do a little research before I jump on here. But when you finally realized there was something better out there and there was all these great brands, what was a couple of them do you remember what you picked up that you're like, man, there's like a whole new world just opened up? Because I remember what that happened for me, and I think most people do. So I was just curious if you remember that.
Yeah, so all the cigars I smoked for the first 3 years were Baccarat Coronas, and it was because that's what my neighbor would hand me. So I smoked years, and then one summer he went on vacation, and he did not leave me any cigars to smoke. So I went to my local tobacconist, which was Davidas in Frederick, Maryland.
Okay.
And Davidas is a pretty big chain, much bigger now than it was back then, because this is 94, 95. And they had a great tobacconist in that store. And I said, hey, do you have these Baccarats? And he goes, he's been trying something else. And I said, well, I don't even know what's out there. This is all I've smoked for 3 years. And he's like, yeah, you're not leaving here with a Baccarat. So he sent me out with 5 cigars. He said, save the bands of the 2 you like the best and come back. So I smoked those 5, and I just started working my way through the humidor, and I was just astounded. First just walking in the humidor and seeing all the variety, because all I'd ever seen was what was at 7-Eleven or CVS and what my neighbor handed me. Didn't know there was so much going on in the humidor, and just kind of built my knowledge from there. I smoked, it's Fonseca.
Okay.
Okay.
The first ones that I really liked that he presented to me. And then I was a Tarano fan for a while. And I was turned on to them by Old Virginia Tobacco. The crazy thing is I'm mentioning shops that my cigars are not in, so I'm not advertising, but this is like the real history, So I started smoking the Taranos because I said, look, I love this Ashton VSG, but I can't afford to smoke these. What's similar to that at a lower price point? Like, oh, you try this Tarano Signature Maduro, you're going to love it. Love those, smoked those for a while. Went through a big Perdomo phase, 10, 15 years ago. Went through a Gordo phase. I think we all have this evolution, and ultimately got to these full strength, punch you in the face, I'm a badder ass than you are cigars because I'm smoking this and you're not. And then when I started blending, I immediately went back to medium, where I could really experience the flavors and not be worried about getting punched in the face. So it's really just been this evolution. I think a lot of people go to the top and they stay there in terms of strength and body. But when it came to blending, I kind of brought myself down. Now, since then, and I named my company Fortaleza y Libre originally, Strong and Free, kind of as an homage to America, but also my last name's Free, and I like strong cigars. Ultimately, went down to medium, working my way back up to this full strength vision.
Yeah, it's awesome. I pretty much the exact same journey, man. I found some cigars I loved at a local like tobacco shop, not really even like a cigar shop, that I started to like, and they were all kind of in the same range looking back at it for taste and profile. Like you didn't get a whole lot of anything crazy transition wise or anything. But man, it's over the last couple of years, there's so much more out there, especially doing this show. Like some of the brands and everybody we've had on, including yourself, that it takes you on this journey more than it's just just smoking a cigar. So it's awesome, man. It's awesome to hear your story.
Thank you. Happy to share it. And let's dig in. Let's go deep.
Hell yeah.
So really quickly before we get going into the next couple of questions, guys, make sure that you're hitting the like button if you're watching on Rumble or on Instagram. Or I'm sorry, not on Instagram, because we don't do that anymore because they killed us.
No.
On YouTube, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you're doing all that stuff. Make sure you help us get the algorithm up. Make sure if you got any questions for Greg, put them in the comments below. If you're interested in winning any of the giveaways tonight, we have two $25 gift cards from the Cigar Vault in Oakdale. We'll be giving away, and we may be giving away a couple of other things here a little bit later. But make sure you put in the hashtag RealSmoke tonight to be entered in to win those things. So you're smoking Baccarats. Your neighbor leaves you. How dare him? Such a bad neighbor to leave you without cigars. I mean, he gets you, loving them, and he's like, peace out. You're cold turkey. So how does that go into making sure, or going into you deciding that you want to start a brand? How did you go into that thought, and what was your process of finding the factory, figuring out what blends you wanted to do? Let's go and walk down that path.
Okay, so I'll tell you that my grandmother always said, find something that you love and the money will come. So that stuck with me for decades, after she passed. And I knew I loved cigars, and I knew I could, make a living at it, and I would be good at it. I really have a passion for the flavor profiles, and also love. I'm a cook, so I cook a lot of things. I like putting recipes together. And then my college education in horticulture was just kind of all of these things coming together and finally being able to do something. So it drove me to follow the passion. And ultimately, I thought I wanted to be a Nicaraguan cigar company. And I planned a trip in 2018 to visit 3 factories in Esteli. And the country went to hell in a handbasket right before that trip. So this is 2018. And in January, there were riots in the streets, and the government had decided that they were going to raise Social Security taxes and lower Social Security benefits. The populace didn't like that idea, and so they had their voices heard, and they were closing down airports, and they were closing down streets, and people were getting shot. It was going to be a family vacation because I'd take my kids to a different country every year so they could see the world and experience it. And my wife at the time was having none of that. So this is January. The trip was in June. And I said, look, they'll have it all figured out by then. I mean, it'd be fine. Well, ultimately, 2 weeks before the trip, it was still bad, and we didn't go. In the meantime, I had been working with a small factory called El Joyito in the Dominican Republic on some test blends, just to have exposure in 2 different countries. I made a decision to go to the DR, visit the factory personally. I had been testing blends that they had been shipping, and then formalized a business arrangement that really, it seems like the best things that have happened to me in my life have been kind of happy accidents. So found this factory, family owned since the 70s, now run by the second generation in just about every position in the factory. So the master blender and owner are the son of the original master blender, and the chief of the floor operations is the son of the original chief of floor operations, and so on and so forth. So it's a risk. It's a small factory, and it was very small when we started working with them. They're probably triple in size from when we started, but I wanted to go to a small factory because I wanted to grow with somebody. You know, I wanted someone who shared that small business passion of, you know, doing something and making a difference for you and your family. And I really lucked out because they could have just taken my money and, you know, bought Ferraris, but they didn't. Since then, they've built a new factory. It's now being used for warehousing, but it's also a new property with more fields for us to grow tobacco on. And they're really just reinvesting and doing some amazing stuff. So that was my kind of my journey into the business. And I haven't produced a cigar anywhere else since. However, I do visit a new factory every time I go to the DR because I want to see how they're operating. I want to see how they're producing their cigars, kind of pick up tips and tricks. And I still contend that at this point, I only know about 55% of what I need to know to be a brand owner. Because every trip to the DR, every trip to a retailer, even on shows like yours, I learned something that I didn't know. So continuing to pick up knowledge. And that brought me to today.
I will say, every time you post something on Instagram or whatever social media, you are traveling somewhere. And you can always tell you're vested in what you're doing, man. So, yeah, I'm the same way, man. I want to learn everything I can learn. I think it's half the reason we love this show so much, because we get to meet new people and learn so much. I mean, we know quite a bit about cigars compared to like most people on this earth, but like when we every week I fucking learn something. You know what I mean? It's awesome. So yeah, no, just keep doing what you're doing, man. It's obviously working for you and you're producing some banger sticks.
Thank you very much. It's it's a relationship business. You have to meet people. You have to share your story. No broker is going to have the passion that I have about my brand. No broker can really get into the depths of who I am and how I got here. Eventually, everyone will have heard the story enough that even a broker can repeat it. But still having a brand owner in your shop and, you know, getting to know the person on both sides, I think it's critical to business. And all that comes from my father being a horse trader. You know, he never put someone in a saddle that didn't fit. That was his kind of ethos. He wouldn't just sell someone a horse to get a horse off of his lot. He would make sure it was the right horse that would last for a lifetime. And that's kind of what I try to do with my cigar business and retailers, is find a shop that's a good fit. Not every shop is a good fit.
Yeah, agreed.
That's a lot. That's something that, you know, I think a lot of brand owners, especially the smaller ones, that would serve them to understand that, you know, they're pushing really hard to get in every shop and every lounge that they can think of. Their cigars just may not fit that lounge because, especially in this part of the state of Tennessee, we are a huge, we're not a huge boutique, you know, area. We're a huge legacy area. To get a lounge to branch out and want to do something that would be either considered craft or boutique, I mean, it's like pulling teeth. It's horrible. And when they do, it's like they bring in somebody and they don't educate themselves so they can educate other people, and then they wonder why, you know, it doesn't do well, because they don't understand the own product that they got. So when you went down there for the first time and you were talking about you was looking at 3 different, you know, factories, can you say what factories that you were thinking about? You know, hey, I kind of want to start with these guys.
I was really following the brands that were having cigars produced in the factories. And honestly, in terms of remembering the names of the three, I don't remember. And I haven't been to Nicaragua at all. So I don't, I'll have to look at my original list, but it's crazy. We were going to stay on the coastline in this great little bay and rent a house. And then my oldest son and I were going to drive through the jungles to get to Esteli. It turns out that would have been a bad idea. You know, in the end, it really seems to be like, again, a happy accident. It didn't happen, and happy to be in the DR and be friends with a lot of other factory owners. But still, you know, I have a special place in my heart for the factory I work with. You know, we've been working together as a team it'll be 6 years in May that I have my first cigar in the country. And they've always just had my back. I've always had their back, and we're just working together very well.
So
yeah, I think
let's oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say, I think the DR has absolutely, like, there was a time where I don't think they were seen in the same light as some of the other countries for production and some of the products coming out of there, man. But over the last couple of years, it has proven that, man, you can get some of the best sticks in the world with tobacco out of the DR. It's been crazy over the last few years.
Well, and listen to what's happening yesterday or the day before with the tariffs on Nicaragua are higher than on the Dominican.
Yep.
You're going to see this. You're going to see a little bit of shift, and one of the issues with the DR from a small brand perspective is that the cost of labor is higher. And they do have tariffs on incoming tobacco of 20%. So if I want to use any tobacco that's not from the Dominican Republic, I have to pay a 20% tariff. So I'm very familiar with tariffs. Nicaragua has never had that issue. They've never imposed a tariff on incoming tobacco. So I wanted to go there because I could have this availability of tobacco from around the world without having to worry about the extra tariff, depending on which country it came from. But in the end, happy accident. Now I'm in the Dominican, and the tariffs that just got instituted, which are going to raise cigar prices for everybody that's listening to the show, and even those that aren't. It's going to be 10% on Dominican cigars, and it's going to be 20% on Nicaraguan cigars. So you've got this crazy thing happening today, real-time business. And again, happy accident. I happen to be in the country where the tariffs are half.
Oh, yeah.
So what was your first experience, with the factory you're at with now? So you decided to go down there and you're wanting to put together, the first blends that you want to smoke. How did that process go?
So I didn't know anything about blending cigars. I knew what I liked, and I told them what I liked. And the factory came up with 12 different blends for me to test. And they sent them to me. This is before I even got there. And in the end, the first line Bodacious, the Bodacious Habano was liked by 11 out of 12 people in my tasting crew. I was the 12th person. It wasn't my favorite one. Yeah, you happen to have one there.
That's the one I'm smoking.
That's perfect. So in the end, I wound up putting a Maduro wrapper on the same one. So when we released Bodacious, we had two different wrapper choices, and the Maduro was kind of more my thing. The Habana was the majority of the tasting crew and then 3 different vitolas. So we would have 6 spacings in that first release because I think shelf presence is important. But the factory just kind of did it all. They did the first line without my assistance at all because I didn't know anything about blending. The second line Bushwhacker, same thing, 2 wrappers, 3 vitolas to give us more shelf presence. And I picked the filler tobacco. It's aged about 50% longer than the Bodacious, but they did the rest of the blend. I'm like, I want this tobacco. And then they built the rest of the blend around that. And then the third one I blended myself. The fourth one I blended myself. And funny stories about both of those. The factory said they would never sell and I'd be out of business in 6 months because I didn't know what I was doing. But they didn't understand the American market. Both those cigars were too strong for the Dominican market. And so they thought it was crazy to put something that strong out. In the end, the Midnight Bender, the third release, is really a medium full at best in terms of strength and body. And the Sun Country is a medium, but they were most upset that it was a Connecticut wrapper on a full body core. Yeah. And that's our number one seller still, Sun Country. Wow. After that, after they knew what the American market was looking for, I haven't done a blend since. have to, because I show up at the factory and they just hand me stuff. Here, try this. Here, you're gonna love this. So I don't really have to do any blending. I do love the blending process. I mean, when we go down, we're still testing, perditos, little dogs, off of the pilon. So you're smoking one tobacco in a little small cigar, all the same tobacco, so you know what it tastes like. I do still enjoy that, and I do still enjoy saying, I really like this one. Like, let's see what you can do with that. But they'll create the blends, and I just don't do that anymore. And honestly, being a brand owner with all the travel I do, I don't spend a lot of time when I'm in the DR. I'm there at least 2 times a year, sometimes 3, but it's usually 3 nights. I'm in and out. I've just got work to do.
Nice. Yeah, I think this is a little bit. This is what I do. I kind of jump around in the show because I'm random and shit. And Charles tries to bring it back together later. So the first time I was introduced to your cigars, and I may have told you this when you were on our Herf the one time with TriStar, I was at a wine event in central Pennsylvania, and Schmitty's Cigars was there out of State College, Pennsylvania. And I believe it's is it Mill Hall or State College? I don't know. Schmitty's Cigars. But anyway, that guy was like, he's like, I just got this new brand in. You got to try these. They're absolutely amazing. I ended up buying pretty much all that he had that night. It was one of the better cigars I've ever had, and it was definitely one of the better cigars I bought from him. It was awesome. So it was a hell of a journey, but he had high things to say about you, man, and he probably should have bought more because he would have sold them to me.
So he's it's Smitty's Cigar Den in Lock Haven, and I actually for some reason they used to be able to smoke in the shop, and then they wouldn't let them smoke in the shop anymore. Lease or building to them or whatever.
Last time I was there, you could. So okay.
Yeah, so you can't anymore. But last time I was there, it was cold, and we were smoking out back. They had a gas fire pit, and we're sitting around, and it's cold. There's like snow on the ground, literally snow on the ground. And I'm like, you got to get a tent out here or something. He's like, it's small business, kind of just starting. I'm like, I'll sponsor the tent. So my tent just went up 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It's a huge tent that's kind of over the fire pit area. It's basically a former military. It's kind of a surplus tent that in the desert or the jungle. And I sponsored it. So he's always been a fan of the brand, and I've been with him since he opened. And it's great to build, again, those relationships. Like, where it's going to work out for you. And James is just one of those guys.
Yeah, he was great, man. He's, like I said, he's always had amazing things to say about you. And he was selling me from minute one on your brand, man. It had to be like, I don't know, maybe 2021, somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly, maybe 2020. Because I remember COVID was going on or still somewhat around or whatever. But he was at one of the wine events, and he was just all excited to get your brand out there, man. He's a good dude, and he always has good things to say.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback, because you never know. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but I do know he sells my cigars, and I do know I was happy to sponsor that tent for him so he could have a place for people to smoke. Because the worst thing is to have a cigar shop that's exclusively cigars, and then you can't smoke anywhere there. So at least now there's an outdoor space. Even in the dead of winter, you've got a place to be. And in the heat of the summer, there's a cover on that tent. Take the sides off, get a breeze in, keep the sun away. You're good to go. Very cool.
Very cool. I promise I wasn't laughing at you, Rob. The Cigar Czar just fucking killed me with that last comment. So long story, he apparently tuned in last week as well. So yeah.
So Rob says, since we see a bed in the background, I really hope we don't see Devin this week. Oh, if it was little Devi, he would be the one jumping on the bed in the background.
All right. I didn't watch the show last week. I apologize. So I don't know the joke, but it sounds funny. So
Mick is our local guy who just goes. He's like
hop around.
Yeah, he hops around. He has to find somewhere to go because the place that where he lives, he's always on his back deck. And when it's 13 degrees out here, I'm the one that suffers with the 13 degrees. He goes and jumps into a lounge, or he goes and finds somebody's garage. Well, he happened to be in Devin's garage yesterday, and I think Devin walked by him and into his house, which you heard the door creak about 22 times. And it just the sound became kind of a running joke, because when Mick's at home, every time he turns his mic on, there's geese that start going nuts back there. So he cannot escape anywhere that there's not background noise that's going nuts.
This is the quietest podcast we've ever had. And notice I don't have a pen in my hands tonight, Charles, because that's also another running joke. I have I had to be fidgeting with something and I'm clicking a pen so I'm trying to be good tonight, man. Greg, this might be the best show I've ever done. I mean, I'll be honest. So you're welcome.
Well, hopefully I've inspired you.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, if you're going to be on your deck during this show, I don't want any unsolicited deck pics for sure.
Oh, nice.
I'll try not to send them to you, brother. Well done, though. Well done.
Nice. I like that one. Man, what? Out of all the times you've been on your deck, that's never come up. So, no pun intended.
You know what I'm posting this weekend?
A shit ton of deck pics.
Unsolicited deck pics.
Yep, absolutely. I'll tag you. Everybody's going to be getting some.
Hey, listen, if you trim the bushes around it, it'll make it look bigger.
Absolutely. That's what she said. Greg is on a roll tonight. I love it.
He is. He fits in great.
I'm drinking some local whiskey, so I'm a little fired up.
Fuck yeah.
What are you drinking?
So we have in Bristow, Virginia, we have this distillery called Merlarkey. And this is Brutality by Merlarkey. And this is barrel 10, so it's probably about 4 years old. But they were kind of really getting into their groove at that point at barrel 10. So the first, I got every single barrel as they were releasing them. And this is the point at which it really got good. So just a great kind of Virginia whiskey. They do fast aging, which I'm not a fan of, but they were kind of perfecting it at barrel 10. Where they're using pressure, pushing pressure in, pulling pressure out to make it go in and out of the barrel, and plus putting charred staves in the barrel. So because, it's expensive to age bourbon for long periods of time. So it's not a 4 year, it's more like a 6 month, but they did a really good job of it. So I enjoy it now and then. And I'm sitting here in Virginia, drinking Virginia whiskey, supporting a small business, like my own, which I think if we all made a little bit of extra effort to do, it'd be a better country.
Absolutely,
100%.
man. That's our wheelhouse, brother. That's what we try to support every week, man. It's really what makes the world go round is small business, man. We love it.
So let's go back into the process. I know one of the things when we talked before, hearing how you come up with your process of coming up with what blend you're going to use, what name you're going to use. I know you said it was something about some of your friends who got together and you guys would be, smoking cigars and drinking whiskey and bourbon, and talk about that a little bit, because I think that's a unique story. That's a fun one.
Yeah. So the first thing is that we still hang out. So we have a happy hour herf crew. When I'm in town on Tuesday nights, we call it church. So we all go to church on Tuesday nights. We smoke cigars, drink whiskey. When I'm not in town, it doesn't happen, but it's nice, to be in town and kind of be back with the original crew and make that magic happen. So I was in town this Tuesday, which was nice. It's a rarity, and got some people together. And even now, bringing new blends back and having them try them. It's not as formal as it was in the beginning. It's really boiled down to the people that go on the trip. And it's usually part of this tasting crew. So we were down there in early February this year when the tobacco is high in the field. Visited the new factory, which is, again, a warehouse right now, but will be the new factory. It's a real big building, beautiful facility, all brand new. And the people that are there, we're testing tobacco. We're doing it collaboratively. It's never been all about me, because it would be like a shop owner only bringing cigars in that they liked. It doesn't make sense. It's about the community. And I really want people to enjoy the process, but also enjoy the cigars in the end. So we're at the factory. We actually picked a cigar for my old Kentucky herf at Fat Ash Cigar Lounge in Ashland, Kentucky, which is coming up in May. Tickets are on sale now. I'm not sure how to get them, but look up Fat Ash Cigar Lounge. You'll figure it out. And we did an event exclusive while we were on this trip. And it was just, again, collaborative. Like, we're all sitting together. We're all smoking cigars. We're getting kind of high as shit because you're smoking off of the pelage. You're smoking 3 or 4 cigars at the same time. They're all hard to burn because they're not wrapped tight. And, there's no binder. There's really no wrapper. It's all just about that core tobacco all rolled up together. But we're having a good time, and we're figuring out kind of what we want to incorporate. And then we go back to the factory where the rolling team is, and we roll cigars using the tobaccos that we enjoy, and we come up with a cigar that we like. In the end, once we come up with a cigar that we like, we have a formal process for naming cigars, and all of our cigars, except for our event exclusive, which is the hashtag GMFF, or an event exclusive like this is going to be just for my Old Kentucky Curve. The process is the newest person on the trip gets to pick the name.
Okay.
All of us on the trip, if it's going to be a line item, all of us on the trip will start calling out names from the top 500 rodeo bulls. I'm putting them into a group chat, so we've got a kind of a list of it because we're out at a bar, we're smoking, we're drinking. I wouldn't remember them the next day if I didn't type them in. So we'll type all the names in of all the bulls that seem to match the blend. So we're smoking the blend at the same time, and we're going through the bull list. Like, what bull makes sense for this blend? What bull would be the perfect one? And ultimately, we narrow it down. We pick our top 5, and then we text the top 5 to everyone in the group. And then if there's one that's a standout, then that's what it's named. In this situation with my Old Kentucky Herf, we came up with a bunch of names that were not related to a bull at all. And my Old Kentucky Herf, their acronym is MOKH. So we named the cigar for that event the SMOKHY. So Smoky.
Nice.
But just for that event. So our naming process is really just focused on whoever the newest person on the trip is and kind of letting them be involved. It's usually 5, 6, 7 of us that go, and there's always a new guy or a new girl, that goes on the trip, and it lets them be involved in the process. So it's not all about me, because I want it to be collaborative. I want it to be like the cigar culture where everyone just kind of comes together from every different direction and just enjoys their passion for cigars, and we've all got something in common. So that's kind of my model for business. The same thing, relationships and letting everyone be involved.
So
Absolutely.
I have to ask this. Let's talk about the event only stick. GMMF?
GMFF.
Yeah. Okay, GMFF.
I have my own theory. I have my own theory on this, but go ahead.
No,
So-
I want to hear the theory first.
I was about to say, let's go. What is the politically correct version of that name, and what is the real version of that name?
The politically correct version is Good Morning Fortaleza Fans. It happens to be a really good cigar with coffee,
Okay.
but that's never what it was intended to be. So, fun story, get a little personal here. When I worked in government contracting, there was a person in my company that just kind of had it out for me. And he was part of the family that owned the company. And I was in a board meeting. I was a vice president, and he's, just kind of going at me. And I come home to my wife at the time, but my ex-wife now, and I'm telling her what's happening with this guy. And she's like, doesn't he know you're Greg motherfucking Free? And I honestly think that was the turning point for our marriage falling apart, because I never forgot her calling me Greg motherfucking Free. I'm like, anytime she'd say anything, I'm like, don't you know I'm Greg motherfucking Free? Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
it's the Greg motherfucking Free.
Nice.
All right. So here's the funny thing. I also work for the government. I don't really talk about it on here, but I'm really good with acronyms. And if there isn't one for it, I can think about what it is. So everywhere I tried to search what the GMFF stood for, I did not see that anywhere. So in my head, I'm like, I know what that has to really mean. So thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. That was my theory.
That's awesome. I'm glad your theory worked out. Yeah, I knew someday I was going to release a cigar like that, and it turned out this was the one.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, as soon as I saw that acronym, I'm like, that has to be what it is. Like, whether he's saying it or not, it has to be what it is.
So I have to know somebody who used to, when growing up, one of my dad's favorite things to do besides watching NASCAR was to watch PBR. So I remember laying on the couch while he watched PBR, on the weekends and loving watching, the different bull riders, going up against some of the wildest ass bulls. So what were some of I take it you're probably a PBR guy with some of the names of these. What were some of your favorite riders and what were some of your favorite bulls? I'm sure some of your favorite bulls are named after some of these, or these cigars were named after them, but what were some of your riders and bulls?
Well, I mean, my most favorite bull, obviously, is Bodacious. So it's, Bodacious he was a bull that killed somebody, and as someone that rode in the local rodeo, I never rode in PBR. I rode in the local county rodeos. And back then we were wearing, cowboy hats and flannel shirts. There were no Kevlar vests. There were no face masks. There were no helmets. Like, we weren't protected at all. It was kind of like just us against the world. But Bodacious, Bushwhacker, it was a team of all of those bulls. And honestly, I was more focused on the bulls than I was on the riders. Like, there's no rider that even today just kind of stands out to me. And I think the best riders today are Brazilian. And I don't remember their names either, but their riding style is so unique to the American riding experience that it's almost like a dance. You think about salsa, or you think about any of the other Latin dances. That's how they ride a bull, and it's unlike anything that in this case, it's ugly Americans riding bulls versus Brazilians who are doing it in an artistic way and surviving. So there's a lot of Brazilian riders that I love to watch now. I don't know any of their names, but I love watching the sport, because of the beauty they brought to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't. Justin McBride was the one that was my dad's favorite. He absolutely loved watching him. But you're right. I mean, I remember first watching PBR when it was a rarity to see somebody come out with what looks to be a scaled down softball helmet. And, everybody was still wearing, cowboy hats, and, the most protection they had was you might have a cowboy come out that's wearing some fancy looking chaps, but that was about it. And now they've got, they got Kevlar vests, they got football helmets on, they've got braces on their elbows. Some of them have them up on their shoulders. I mean, that's smart. That's probably that's giving them a few extra years riding. But, that used to be something I enjoyed when my wife and I first got married. I introduced her when PBR came to Knoxville. I got to introduce her to what PBR was. And she's like, this is some of the craziest ass shit I've ever seen. And it's like, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing how things have changed. I'll tell you a personal story. My dad, we used to fox hunt. I rode English and Western, and we were fox hunting with the Potomac, which is in Potomac, Maryland. And he was wearing a derby. And so you're riding English, and you're jumping fences, and you're riding on fire trails, and you're chasing the fox. And he would never wear a hard hat. I had to wear a hard hat because my mom made me wear a hard hat, even though my dad was completely against it. But my dad's horse went over a jump, and one hoof went down in the tire tracks from the fire trail, and the other hoof stayed up, and the horse rolled forward, and my dad cracked his skull, was in the hospital for 4 weeks, lost his sense of taste and smell, came home with a bandage on his head. And the doctor said, you can't ride a horse for 6 weeks. He walked out of the bed from his bedroom the day he got home, went down to the barn, saddled up his horse, and went for a ride. So it's that, that old school thing where he wasn't going to wear a hard hat. He was just going to, he wanted to look good. It was all about presentation. He's like, it doesn't matter how good you ski, as long as you got the right outfit. He was that guy. And, it's evolved. It's evolved to the place just like football where, people are looking to be safe. You want to live forever. I'm very fortunate. I rode probably 15 different horses every week because we'd go to an auction in Thurmont, Maryland called Eilers. We'd buy 15 to 20 new horses every week. I'd ride all of those horses to determine which ones we could sell for more than we bought them for at auction. And then we'd take the rest back to auction and we'd sell those and buy 15 to 20 more. This constant rotation, but I was riding those horses with just a cowboy hat and a flannel shirt, typical farm boy. and I got thrown off a lot. But I survived, and I'm glad I had the experience.
I will say it's a little different, I guess, bull riding or horse riding than it is football. But you did touch on football, and I still am a firm believer. I mean, look at all the rugby players that play without any padding or any helmet, and there's a lot less concussions and a lot less craziness because I think people feel invincible when they're suited up like that in some of this ridiculous gear. I think that really plays a part in where we are looking at concussions and looking at injuries during sports, because people are basically a projectile rocket coming at you when you have all that gear on. So, I mean, it's definitely a different sport.
I completely agree. The difference with horse riding versus, playing football, because I played football too, is the horse doesn't care what you're wearing.
Exactly.
He or she's going to do whatever the hell she's going to do.
Very true.
And I rode, before I rode bulls in the rodeo, I rode broncos and had a great time. But all the buckle bunnies that were attracted to the bull riders, I'm like, why aren't they coming after me? And I'm just because of the bronco rider. I rode bulls. I only rode 8 bulls, and they all tried to kill me. I did ride 2 to 8 seconds, so I finished the ride. But whether you finish it on your own or they throw you off, they still turn around and try to kill you. So I went back to broncos, and it's again just a different experience, and had a great time. No protection, but survived.
Whenever you survive with no protection, that's a good night.
That's a good night. That's a good Friday.
I owed him that one. I'm sorry.
So we usually do this at the beginning of the show, and because my brain is completely fried from the week already, we did not introduce the cigar that we are smoking or that we smoked for the show. Let's get into some of your cigars, and usually Mick is the one that introduces this one, but if you want to, tell us about the cigar that we advertised for you.
So actually I'm smoking one now. I don't have the band on it, but the Intimidador, which was originally the Intimidator, translated into Spanish, Intimidador, was really, we're trying to get, again, into that full range. It's not a true full. In my opinion, it's a medium full. Everyone has a different palate, but from my perspective, it's medium full. We were trying to use some of the product mostly local from our farm. I've got one with a band on it here that I'm not smoking, but it's kind of hard to see. It's red, white, and blue. Really wanted to get patriotic, have a cigar that you could have for Memorial Day, and any other July 4th, those sorts of things. But that cigar, again, trying to get to that medium full range with a lot of really good flavor. That Mexican San Andres wrapper on it is just really impactful. But it's got a lot of great core tobacco, to include 1 leaf of Nicaraguan Ligero. So there's double Ligero in the core, but one of the leaves is Nicaraguan. That's our first cigar with any Nicaraguan tobacco in it. And it's just got a great flavor profile. It comes out in a Toro and also a Corona, and it's really done really well for us.
So,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, last night, I smoke the cigar that we're reviewing the night that we have the guest on. But because of all the rain we're having here, I smoked it last night. But Charles and I were talking about it a little bit after, and I'm just such a sucker for a good San Andreas, man. And it was outstanding. I've had it before, but it's the first time I really sat down and thought about the flavor profile and the notes, and it was very solid, man.
So the other leaf of Ligero on that one is first generation Cuban seed, but grown in the DR. And let's get real on seed. Everything is really Cuban based. So Sumatra or it's Ecuadorian. It's pretty much all Habana, which means it's originally Cuban seed. And Pelado Cubano in the Dominican Republic is actually Cuban seed. However, it's morphed over 100 generations into kind of its own thing. So to get back to kind of the Cuban essence, we find ourselves going to Criollo 98, which is a hybrid that was created in Cuba in 1998. And it gives a lot of Cuban essence to the core of that cigar. So the filler is all that Criollo 98, but grown in the DR. The other leaf of Ligero is that Criollo 98. And that's kind of what brings us to that kind of Cuban experience, but with a Mexican wrapper.
Yeah, well done.
I will say one of the coolest things that I saw when I've smoked this one a couple of times, but like Mick said, I've never really sat down and actually thought about, in depth about the cigar. But going over and just looking at it, one of the things that I really liked about it was the look. I love the band. The band, the red, white, and blue band, it's got that shiny kind of, layer to it. But the cigar looked rustic as hell. And I like a good cigar that has just that. It's toothy. It's got texture to it. It's got, if it may not be the perfect looking cigar, but it looks cool as hell. So I enjoyed that part of it. Let's go over some of the other cigars that you've got in your lineup. What is the core that you usually send people to, or you have people start with?
So I think if anyone's at an event, the first cigar I give them is the Sun Country. It's our number one seller because it's got just this great core flavor, and it kind of goes well with anything. And I say it's the cigar that I smoke the most because hold on just a second, I'm having a crisis with power.
Okay.
Apologies.
So while he goes and does that, we'll go into this one. I will say that tonight I am smoking the Bodacious Habano. The only reason I'm not smoking the Bodacious Maduro is because I enjoyed the hell out of that cigar, and it ended up being one that I smoked. Every one of them I had, they were gone. I remember, Greg said that I don't remember if it was what he said here tonight or what he said before, but he was the one that really loved the Maduro, and the consensus was the Habano. The Habano is fire. I love that. That's a great cigar. The Maduro, that's my wheelhouse. I love the Bodacious Maduro.
Thank you. And it was kind of a simple switch because it's the same seed grown on the same farm, but it's Maduro. So it's all about the process. It's all about, what the temperature is in the pilon and how long you're going to be fermenting that cigar to get that dark, rich flavor. So same seed grown on the same farm in Ecuador, but giving you that unique, kind of sweet, rich flavor.
Absolutely. Well described.
So you were talking about that when somebody comes to one of your events that haven't tried your cigars, you don't necessarily turn them on to one of the more bolder cigars. You turn them on to the Sun Country. Why is that?
It's the one that I smoke the most of, not because it's my favorite, because it's a switch hitter. I'm a big fan of lower proof bourbons. I'm not a high proof bourbon guy. I also love a good cup of coffee. And I like stout when it comes to beer. And that particular cigar works in those three scenarios just almost romantically, almost like they were destined to be a couple. And so I carry more of those in my box just because no matter what I'm doing, I know that cigar is going to cover it all. Even if I only mentioned alcoholic, but even if it's non-alcoholic, that's a great cigar with a Dr. Pepper. It's a great cigar with an iced tea. It's a great cigar with a glass of water. It just kind of works with everything. But there are some situations where it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me if I go above 90 proof because then I lose the cigar experience.
Yep.
So, we talk about perfect pairings, and from my perspective, there's really no perfect pairing. It's kind of like, what are you trying to do? If you really want to enjoy your whiskey, then you're going to go with a cigar that's not going to be punching you in the face because you want to savor the whiskey. You'll go with a Habano wrapper or a Connecticut wrapper because you really want to enjoy the special bottle that you've been saving for a while. And on the flip side, if you really want to experience that cigar, you're not going to drink something that's going to overwhelm it. So no perfect pairing in my mind, but there are a lot of perfect cigars for a particular drink.
That is probably the best I have heard that described. How to, if you're trying not to overwhelm one with the other, that's an amazing way to look at it. I love that. So that brings me to one of my last questions. I think I have two left here. So I saw recently you did a cut and light for with some rum. I'm a big rum guy. I need to know what your thoughts are for your cigars and rum.
So I'm not a white rum guy. Being more of a
Me
bourbon.
neither.
Think about, just think about it's the flavor that comes with color.
Yep.
So you get into your aged rums. I'm a big Zaya rum fan. I'm a big aged Bacardi fan, a Barcelo fan. Like any of these aged rums they kind of speak to that more bourbon palate, more sweet, more caramel, more vanilla. And honestly, all of my cigars work well with those. I'll be in Costa Rica in a couple months, and I'll drink rum the whole trip and just work my way through, Zacapa, any of the really good aged rums, and smoke them with cigars. And most of my cigars will allow you to enjoy those rums the way they're intended to be enjoyed.
Okay.
I probably won't smoke an Intimidador or a Midnight Bender with like a 23-year-old Zacapa because I want to enjoy the rum. So again, it's that there's no perfect pairing. It's like, what are you really trying to experience here? Do you want to really have the cigar be the star of the show, or do you want what you're sipping on to be the star of the show? So that's how I'll balance that out.
Love it. Great answer. I'm actually going to Aruba in about a month and a half, and I plan on doing the same thing. I'm going to buy some great rum and kind of work my way through and just enjoy sipping and smoking, man. It's going to be a great trip.
No doubt. I wish I was there.
Did we lose Charles? I think we lost Charles.
He seems to be there.
No, he's there. So we talked about it before, and we kind of alluded to it before, we got into the conversation. But, when I first got to talk to you, when we were talking with, our cigar club, I was awesome, lucky enough to get, a shirt, and it happened to have the original name. The original name of your brand was what?
Fuerte y Libre.
I'm wearing a hat now that has a different name on it. I made a joke that this is version 2.
Yeah, that's Fortaleza y Libre.
Okay. And we just found out that this hat that I will be sending out to one lucky winner is about to be another collector's item. So the first name change came about because of a copyright issue that I guess Fuente had with your name versus his, correct?
Yeah, with the word Fuerte. The potential for consumer confusion is the actual Patent and Trademark Office definition.
So basically saying that your name for your brand was way too similar to his name for his brand.
Correct. So I'll just talk through kind of the whole thing. So we had Fuerte y Libre. Originally, the name was created in English, Strong and Free, which made perfect sense. Last name, Love Strong Cigars. Also spoke to the strength and freedom of America. Our bull logo was created based on, what kind of symbolizes strength and freedom. And if you think about a bull up on a hill overlooking the herd, that's a strong symbol. So that's kind of where we came up with the bull. And plus, I rode in the rodeo, and I was a farmer, worked on the dairy farm, and also I happen to be a tourist. So all of these things kind of work together. So we presented, there's 2 trademarks. There's a trademark and a logo mark. So the trademark, which is really a word mark, is just the words, Fuerte y Libre Cigars. The logo mark is the actual picture where you have Fuerte above the bull and y Libre Cigars below the bull. So we presented both of those. We got no opposition to the logo mark, but we got opposition from Carlito Fuente and Fuente Cigars for the word mark, for the use of the word Fuerte. So we fought that for a while, ultimately reached a settlement. And then when we reached the settlement for Fortaleza, which they don't have an issue with, we represented our trademark for Fortaleza y Libre Cigars with no opposition. And also we represented the logo mark with Fortaleza above the bull and y Libre Cigars below the bull. In this iteration, the University of Texas opposed the bull, even though I went to college for horticulture. I was raised on a farm. It is not a Longhorn. It's
No.
in fact, I created it specifically so it wasn't any particular bull, but they opposed it because it was too similar to the Longhorns logo. I didn't really fight that for a while, but we negotiated for a while. They were actually great partners in the process. I don't know anybody at University of Texas, but they are my son's favorite college team. And we spent some time, working through this process. So there will be a new bull. The frame of the bull will look exactly the same, but there'll be 2 nostrils and 2 eyes, and the ears will be outlined. That'll be the only difference. So the hat that you're wearing will be the same, except that the bull will have a little more definition and the structure of it.
From 10 feet away, it's the same hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, if you probably put one logo up against the other logo and just didn't tell anybody about it, they're going to say it's the same logo.
Yeah.
They will. And same with Fortaleza. Nobody could say Fuerte and nobody can say Fortaleza, unless you're Spanish. It's one of those things where I created the brand in a way that would be easily recognizable. And basically for people don't even read the name of the cigar on the box or the band. What they really recognize is the color. So if you like, you're looking for the bull and then you're looking for the color. So you like the Sun Country, it's the yellow bull. You're looking for the Midnight Bender, it's the purplish blue bull. You're looking for, Second Wind, it's the black bull with the gold embossing. So I wanted to make each of the bands distinctive for the cigar without having to worry about these little kind of idiosyncrasies, so that now even with these changes, nobody really recognizes what's different.
Yeah, I think you're the second or third brand owner that's told us that they try to really break it down by color because it keeps it so simple for the consumer. They know the brand, like the symbol, and and then they also know the color. So that completely makes sense.
Yeah. So you will never see an orange wrapper on one of my cigars or orange band because that's part of my agreement with University of Texas. There'll be no orange.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So when does the new logo start rolling out on cigars?
So it's crazy. So Fuente was very generous and gave me 5 years to transition.
That's awesome.
To Fortaleza. Really generous, because as a small company to throw out bands and create new bands, it's a big expense. So we're gradually, as we run out of bands on a particular cigar, we produce the new bands with Fortaleza and we come out with those. The University of Texas, it's kind of a 1-year turnaround. So if you're going to PCA, you're going to see the new logo on our backdrop. You'll see the new bull. And then as we start producing new cigars, they're not requiring us to remove anything from the retailers. But as we start producing new cigars, you'll see that new bull with a new logo. But if you're at PCA, you'll see that new bull logo. And I'm really proud of it.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
So I guess my last question is going to be one of the ones that go ahead.
I was going to say, are you going to PCA?
We're going next year. Hopefully.
We're going next year. Yeah.
Our goal is to go as media next year. I guess we got started a little too late and trying to get all of our ducks in a row for this year, but we hope to go next year.
Yeah, we've been blessed on this journey, and we're only like literally 7 or 8 months maybe into this now, and yeah, it's been a great ride, man. But we're definitely setting ourselves up for next year. And I know it's a full year out, but it gives us time to prepare and continue to build this community and see where it takes us.
That's awesome. Before you close out with that last question, I just want to kind of recognize everyone that jumped on the show, and particularly Corey Wiley, who is the Bearded Monkey 440. He's one of my one of my top representatives in the sense that he constantly posts my brand. He's a great Instagram influencer for me. He's going to be at PCA in my booth. So if you know Corey Wiley, he'll be there. Awesome. But you've got Robert Kortner, who's going to be seeing us at PCA.
Yep.
And then all of the other people like JD Bear, AKA Tiffany. I just want to thank all those people for jumping on the show. And hopefully if they're going to be at PCA, they'll come see me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a lot of, I mean, every name that you just mentioned on there, you know, they've been big supporters of ours as well. So um, that's pretty awesome. My last question was easy. Let's take 3 of your cigars. Today I'm going to smoke 3 of your cigars. I want to pair it with either a whiskey, a rum, or food. Um, Give me a morning, afternoon, and evening cigar journey with your lineup and what you would pair it with. It doesn't have to be what other people would pair it with. What would you pair it with?
So the Sun Country with coffee with cream, no sugar. That's number one. For the midday, it's probably going to be the Bushwhacker Habano. That core tobacco is aged 50% longer, so it's kind of a richer, smoother profile. And that's going to be with a nice glass of iced tea or even just water, because I just want to really experience that richer flavor from that core tobacco. And then at night, probably an Intimidador with a whiskey that's under 90 proof. So, and by whiskey, I mean American whiskey. I do love Isla scotches that have that very smoky flavor, almost like drinking a campfire. And those are great with some cigars, but you really have to smoke your cigar knowing you're really going to enjoy that whiskey, because that Isla whiskey with that crazy smokiness is going to overwhelm even the Intimidador and the Midnight Bender.
You got a thought on that Scotch there, Charles?
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, PD Scotch is not my idea. I know we have a brother on here, Mike, that has been trying to introduce me into some Scotch here lately, and it either tastes like Band-Aids or mermaid armpit. So, I mean, it's like mermaid armpit sweat. It's horrible. But I love you, Mike. Robert wants to know, question, will you be wearing white sneakers at PCA?
So they're not sneakers, they're loafers. But yes, I'm wearing them right now because it's almost summer here in Virginia. It was 80, 85 degrees here today. So I'm back in the white loafers, definitely white loafers. I'll be wearing them at PCA.
Love it. Love it. So I guess my last question before we get into our hotbox questions and kind of try to put a bow on this. So I read I guess us as Real Smoke Podcast, we like to say we just keep building our community. I mean, that's kind of our thing. We just want to keep meeting new people and expanding. And it's not about any fame, fortune, anything crazy. Like, we want to meet great people and kind of grow the story and get, great cigars out to everybody. I read somewhere that to you, it's that camaraderie that really keeps you in this. So could you speak on that a little bit before we kind of try to tie it up?
So I'm really fortunate to be on the board of the Boutique Cigar Association. I wasn't on the board when I joined them, but I joined the Boutique Cigar Association just to be part of a group of peers, people that are, small, personally owned or family owned companies that are really just trying to make a difference by creating craft cigars that the big legacy brands can't create. If you think about Fuente, I'll use it as an example. If they want to come out with a new line, not only do they need 1 million pounds of tobacco, that's probably an excessive number, but I'm using it as an example, but they need that 1 million pounds of tobacco year after year after year. So they have to use tobaccos that are in great abundance, whereas craft or boutique cigar companies have this ability to use smaller batch tobacco, grown on small farms that have a very unique quality and process them in a unique way that's special kind of to just that particular brand. So I think that being a part of a group of people that are doing the same thing, creating craft cigars or boutique cigars in a way that's unique to the industry. And I think that if you think about all of those legacy brands, at one point they were boutiques. At one point they were creating craft cigars. And that's what we are. And those are the people that I want to associate with.
I love it, man. Yeah. We just, I think we all just looking to keep building that family and that, stay surrounded by the people you love. And that's really the key to life, I think, is just keeping those great people around you and keep building.
Yep.
So at this part of the show, we like to jump into our what we call hotbox questions, basically 10 random questions, not so random to us, but kind of random to you. You can keep it as short or as long as you want. Have some fun with it. We like to always ask, are you game to play some hotbox questions?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go fast.
All right. Before we do that, we need to thank the people who sponsor that one.
Hey
and that's
guys,
Beard.
listen up. Give your beard the VIP treatment it deserves with Beard Apothecary. They are a small business on a big mission, crafting top-tier beard care products made by hand in small batches for ultimate freshness and care. A healthy, well-groomed beard isn't just a look, it's a lifestyle. That's why they use only the finest premium butters and oils to deeply nourish your beard and skin. No more dryness, irritation, or those dreaded split ends. Your beard will be living its best life, soft, manageable, and downright irresistible. At Beard Apothecary, they believe in the power of natural ingredients and serious pampering. Why settle for basic when your beard can be freaking legendary? Check them out at beardapothecary.com or on Instagram at beard_apothecary. Your beard will thank you.
And big thanks to Beard Apothecary for everything. So, as always, Mick is the one that starts us off with question number 1. Mick, what's your first question?
All right, here we go. What is your least favorite sound?
Least favorite what?
Least favorite sound.
Sound? Wow, that's a tough one. I think it's fingernails on a chalkboard. Seems pretty obvious.
Classic. I like it.
All right. So, question number 2. Fill in the blank. For me, cigars is all about what?
Who you're smoking with. You know, I think every cigar brings something to the table, but honestly, it's about the people that surround you.
100%. That's what got me into this, man. So absolutely. All right. So question number 3. What is your favorite band or artist?
Oh wow, I'm gonna go with Toby Keith.
Okay.
And probably a little bit's because he passed, and you know there's not going to be any more Toby Keith. I'm also a Chris Stapleton fan, but Toby Keith's probably just there. I mean, he's just a phenomenon.
I gave away my secret last week. Every time I post after the show for all the follow-up stuff, I always use Whoever You Say as my song for the post. So just so you know what's coming this week.
All right.
So, question number 4. What is your favorite guilty pleasure?
Wow. They're going to cancel you on YouTube.
It's already happened. We've already been through this.
Yep.
My favorite guilty pleasure. So I'm on a low carb diet 6 days out of the week. And then on the 7th day, I eat whatever I want. And I would say that pasta or pizza, basically Italian would be my guilty pleasure. All those things that are just loaded with carbs that I can't normally have, that's the one.
I feel that, man. I feel that completely. I've actually been dieting as well, and on the weekends I don't pay attention as much. And yeah, I feel you 100% on that. Pizza is mine as well. Before
you go into the next question, we've referred to it a couple of times. We had Matt Booth on a couple of months ago, and in the middle of the podcast, we were streaming live on Instagram as well as YouTube. Instagram permanently deleted our channel. I mean, just stopped it in the middle of the podcast, just got rid of it. Mick fought it, and they basically said, nope, sorry. We went from, in like 6 months or so, we got up to almost 5,000 followers, and they just got rid of all of them. So over the last month and a half, we've been trying to get everybody back. So we've already been canceled once.
Yeah, it was a painful process, but there were some lessons learned on that. I will say it was. We're doing better now. I think we're okay. All right, so this one. Speaking of Matt Booth, this is the one he called me many names for. Is cereal a soup?
Yes, it is. I mean,
thank you.
If you're eating it dry out of the bag, then it's a snack. But if you're eating it with milk, it's a soup.
Thank you. Jesus. All right. You win, man. That's great.
I will say Matt Booth cussed him up and down for asking that question. I mean, it was like he got told that his favorite dog died. I mean, he just went off.
Yeah, it started with you fucking asshole is how it started when I asked that question.
I mean, honestly, a hot dog is a taco, in my opinion. So,
yes, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it's a flour wrapped around a piece of meat. It's a taco.
Good call.
Anything wrapped around a piece of meat is a taco. 100% agree. So, question number 6. What is the one thing in life that you're most proud of?
I'm proud of my kids. My kids have just really overwhelmed me with their resiliency. They're both living in Nashville right now, and they're having a great time, living their best life. My daughter's doing amazing things, getting her nurse practitioner degree. And my son is living his best life in Nashville. He's 4 years younger than his sister, but they're so tight. That relationship is amazing to me, that you've got a son and a daughter that are the closest knit people in the family. I'm proud of that.
Absolutely. As you should be, man. All right. So if you could choose a superpower, what would it be and why?
Invisibility. I could be anywhere at any time and no one would know.
Hell yeah. Love it.
All right. So, question number 8. What does the term craft or boutique cigar mean to you?
So I think it's under a certain amount of production. So under a million cigars a year is boutique. And then craft is similar. It's similar, but craft really means you're using products that can't be used in mass marketing. So if you think about a craft beer, you're not going to have Budweiser putting oysters in the beer vat at the end to make an oyster beer. You're not going to have that creativity where you're kind of really going outside the bounds of normalcy. The whole beer industry was all based on Bavarian requirements. Like the beer had to be this. And I think that cigars in old school days had to be a particular thing. And in the craft or the boutique industry, we're talking about just being creative, doing things that the bigger guys can't do, and kind of focusing on that small business, family-owned aspect.
Nice.
This is just like reviewing a cigar with Charles. You explain it so much better. It's just great, man. It's awesome. All right. So question number 9, if you could have dinner with any historical figure, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I'm not going to, you know what? I'm going to answer my first answer. I would love to have dinner with Donald Trump. I was thinking, I don't want to be too political. It's not about political. It's just about getting inside of the head of someone who's running the nation and is doing things that are pretty extreme in terms of what our political environment has done. Like just to sit down. Unfortunately, he doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. He's kind of a boring guy for me. He's someone I would normally sit down with, but I would love to kind of get inside his head.
Absolutely. Charles said it best when he was first elected on one of our shows. He's like, I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. We wish him luck because, we want to see our country succeed. So that was put very well, as always, by my partner up there. But no, I don't disagree, man. It would be more fun if you could get him drunk, probably. But it's a good time.
It'd be awesome.
I think it would be fun to get inside of I don't care who the president would be. I would just want to know the moment that you realize that you're in control of the most powerful country in the world. What are you thinking right now? Is it an actual, oh shit moment? I mean, that would have to be, there's nobody that, except if you were the president, there's nobody that could actually explain that feeling because you go into an election going, okay, this could happen. This might happen. I may win. But that moment that you look at the TV and go, oh, I just won. I want to know what that feeling was.
Yeah. And my second choice is really John F. Kennedy. So it's not political. It's just like these people that are in that position of power and like, how does that feel? And, running, in my opinion, the greatest nation in the world.
100%.
I agree. So the last question of the night, question number 10. What is the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
Eric Espinosa said, when you're traveling, go where the money is. He said, you can fly into Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, where Smitty's Cigar Den is, and there's one shop there. He said, but if you really want to grow your brand, you've got to go to where the shops are. So don't spend a lot of money flying into small towns. Spend your money going into the big cigar kind of country, so Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, Chicago. And that was really eye-opening for me. I never thought of that. And I had spent hours with him that night. And when I was leaving, and we hugged it out, and he's like, one more thing, Greg, don't forget this. Go where the money is.
Love it. Makes sense. Makes complete sense.
So I want to say thank you. I mean, we've had you on again for the TriStar Herf crew. I want to say thank you again for jumping on with us. We always want to leave you with, the floor. We want to give you the final say. Is there anything that we did not cover tonight that you would like to talk about? And if not, let everybody know where they can find you, best place to find your cigars, all of your socials, anything that you want to leave anybody who's watching you for the first time. How can they get a hold of you? How can they find you? Let us know anything else that we missed.
Easy to find me on Instagram at Fortaleza y Libre. I don't know if you'll be able to smell it or spell it, but that's a lot of letters and words, but you can see it here on the screen. So Fortaleza y Libre, no spaces. That's my Instagram handle. In terms of shops, Underground Cigar in Fort Worth ships cigars, and they carry my line. Tobaccology is my home shop, and they're in Haymarket, Manassas, and also Leesburg. And in Dayton, Ohio, B&G Cigars. They carry my entire line, always have, very supportive. And if you go on my website, go to retailers, you'll see the retailers that ship. They'll be listed saying we ship or website purchases available. And that's where you can find me. So I'm not everywhere. I'm a small business. But if you really want to find my cigars, you can find them online at different shops that carry them. The only other things I want to mention are PCAs coming up next week, which is crazy. Next week in New Orleans, I'll be there. I don't think booth numbers are important, but it's easy to find Fortaleza y Libre. We've got a great location. We're really happy to have it's our own booth this time. We're not in the Boutique Cigar Pavilion. So we'll have our own booth. We've got a new backdrop with a new bull on it. I look forward to meeting everybody there. We'll also be at my old Kentucky Herf at or near Fat Ash Cigar Lounge in Ashland, Kentucky, coming up in May. And then we're going to be at the Cigar Crawl in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in June. So we've got a lot of great events coming up, and we're always traveling. So, follow my posts, see what's going on. If you love my videos about tobacco taxes state to state, keep looking for those, because I do a lot of driving trips, and whenever I cross the state line, you'll see me in front of a state line board. Welcome to West Virginia, where we love people and our taxes are not high, that kind of thing. So that's the best I can give you. I really appreciate everyone showing up, and it's great to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate you jumping on, man. Like I said, we've known you for a minute here, and we've loved watching your journey. We love your sticks. I've never been disappointed with something, man. And thanks again for the care package. We don't do this for that, but we support your brand no matter what, man. And we're happy to get you out there, maybe to some people that didn't know you before, and hear your story. And we do appreciate everything, man. It's always a good time hanging out with you, and I greatly appreciate your time. I know Charles does as well.
Thank you very much.
I know being on the east part of Tennessee, we have a couple of cigar lounges out this way. We have Scenic City Cigar out in Chattanooga. We have Smokies in Knoxville. We have Destination in Sevierville and Cigar Shop of Morristown. I know some people and brand owner or lounge owners from those shops watch this. Guys, I know you're all going to PCA. Go check out Greg. Go try some of his cigars. You guys will not be disappointed. I would love to be able to say that, these cigars are carried in Eastern Tennessee. So that would be fantastic. again, Greg, thanks so much for jumping on here. We absolutely love talking to you. And anytime you have anything coming out or anything that you want to talk about, you always have a home on here. You can reach out to us and say, hey, I just want 5 minutes with you guys just to say, I've got this coming out. We'll get you on. We'll squeeze you in somehow. So thanks so much for jumping on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been a great night.
All right. Thanks, brother.
Take it easy, man. Have a great one.
Peace out.
25.
And we just ended interview number 25. So Greg is fantastic. I love talking to Greg.
Yeah, me too.
I will say there's a lot of cigar brand owners we talk to that would be fun to hang out with. I would love to go and hang out with him during the process of him picking a blend, and him and his guys and gals going through that process and enjoying something awesome to, drink and smoke. So that would be such a fantastic time. And there's great stories because, the way that he talked about it, that's super, super crazy. I love it.
Yeah, that's bucket list shit right there, man. Just being able to pick out a blend with some great people, some of who you're closer with probably than others, but just being able to sit down and share that experience together would be amazing.
So we had somebody post a comment, have we given away prizes yet? Nope, that comes up here soon. We have a cigar review to do here in just a second, and then we have prizes to give away. If you guys have not put in the comments, hashtag RealSmoke, put it in the comments now. Make sure you're hitting the like button. We really need people to help us out on the algorithm. Hit the like. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe. Go follow us on Instagram. We just started a brand new Facebook page, so go check us out on Facebook at the Real Smoke Podcast. That would be great as well. But are you ready for your review?
Sure. It feels really weird reviewing something I didn't just smoke tonight. So just, I guess that's yours every time though, but I'm ready.
That's me every time. But before we do that, we have to talk to our people at the Cigar Army.
Tonight's cigar review is proudly sponsored by Cigar Army. The Cigar Army is a community brought together by their shared love of cigars, but bonded by something much deeper, their mission to give back to those in need. Through Operation Give Back, they honor the courage and dedication of our military and first responders, both active and retired. Their bravery and selflessness make the freedoms we enjoy possible, including this very moment to sit here, share a cigar, and connect with our Real Smoke audience. Every puff carries a story. Every draw is a tribute to their sacrifices. This isn't just about cigars, it's about gratitude, about compassion, and about giving back to the heroes who shaped our lives. Join them in the mission to make a difference, one cigar at a time. Check them out on Instagram at Cigar Army 3 or search Cigar Army on Facebook. Together, we can turn our passion into purpose.
It's a great spot too. It's awesome.
Got to thank everybody at Cigar Army for putting in their faith and trust in us to help spread the word about Cigar Army. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'll just say in the back end of that, we talked to a few of the members this past week on our HERF, and they got some things coming up that we're going to be promoting. We're excited to have them, sponsor us, and we also want to, do everything we can to sponsor them. So they do a great job for the community, and we love what they do.
All right, so let's get into it. We smoked tonight, and I will let you go ahead and, we didn't do it. It was my fail. I've dropped the ball 22,000 times today. So I'll let you go ahead and talk about what we are smoking tonight.
All right, the Fortaleza, Jesus, I still can't say it. All right, Fortaleza y Libre. Dude, the fucking name's just killing me, dude. Intimidor. Got it. All right. It's a Mexican San Andres binder, Dominican filler, Dominican price $10.99. Sponsored by Beard Apothecary. Fucking terrible, dude. Just a name, man. I love Greg with all my heart, man, but that's fucking terrible. Terrible. How do you even? I give up. Greg, if you're still watching, I'm sorry. I love the name of your company. I apologize.
I finally got one.
And it wasn't the tobacco. Fuck,
It wasn't
it's
the
name of
tobacco.
company.
I'm
We'll just
sorry,
call them
Greg. I'm so
We're just going
sorry.
to call them the Texas Longhorns. Let's go.
Oh, well, just got canceled.
Yeah, we probably just got canceled. Texas is going to sue us next. All right. So, to review this cigar that I smoked, because I'm not trying it again. Aroma from the body. I got hay, barnyard, baking spices. Aroma from the foot. I got hay, barnyard, sweet tobacco. Taste from the cold draw. Barnyard, a little bit of leather and raisins. First third notes. Black pepper, sweet cream, a light touch of berries in there. Leather, a little bit floral. Retro, I got black pepper and leather. Second third, black pepper, floral. A little bit of nuttiness came in, walnut. Light earthiness, fruity notes. Retro was black pepper and leather. Touch of berry on that as well in the retro and in the second third. Final third, black pepper. Again, berry notes, baking spices, light earth, floral, and like a roasted walnuts because it got a little bit more charred. Retro was black pepper and nuttiness. The pre-light experience, I gave it an 18 out of 20. Flavor enjoyment, 14 out of 15. Construction characteristics, 27 out of 30. Smoke production and final thoughts, 32 out of 35. I gave this a 91.
That's awesome.
For the
So- So wait. So here we go. I'm dying over here. I'm sorry. Anybody who's listening to this on Spotify, I apologize profusely, but I am rolling over here. So Rob has a special message for you. He says, "Hooked on Phonics worked for Mick."
Dude, I love you too, Rob. I'll just leave it at that. All right.
Little Debbie says, "Please say that 10 times fast."
I can't fucking say it one time fast or slow for that matter.
Robert wants to help you with it. Pronounce this. This is your Hooked on Phonics.
Intimid adore. Is
Now
that
say
right?
it 10 times fast.
Nope. Good.
Listening to Mick say that name is like a train wreck. I can't look away or stop laughing.
We win apparently. Hey, now we know how to keep viewers. I just need to fuck up the name terribly every time.
Oh God. I'm watching these come in and you're like straight lace reading this stuff off and I'm dying. I'm literally trying not to like fall into the floor.
I guess we know what the clip's going to be this week. I can see it now.
I see the clips are all done by AI. I don't have control over that, so I please hope that they clip this. The laughing is awesome. I'm dying, Greg. I'm truly dying over here. All right, so if I can read this without dying myself, this is the Timidador by Fortaleza y Libre. I might have said it a little bit better. Aroma off the body, manure, slight smoky chocolate. Something about that one, just the smell of it. I had it was like smoky campfire. I don't know why. Aroma off the foot, tobacco, dark fruit. Taste off the cold draw, dark fruit, spice, smoky. Mine had a wide open draw on it. Oh God, I'm gonna die on this.
Did you use protection?
I am sorry, Greg. I am so sorry. On the light, earth, oak, black pepper, spice, retros, slight sweet note mixed with black pepper. Into the first, big bold flavors up front, earth, floral sweetness, followed by a light spice and a cocoa powder. Finishes long and leaves a floral cinnamon taste on the palate. Retro is earth, floral sweetness, and cinnamon. I got a lot of cinnamon and floral on this one. There was so much, to me, so much cinnamon. Draw slightly open, but there's still a good amount of smoke. Smoke is thick and oily and covers the entire mouth. Ash is flaky. Burn is okay. Kind of wonky. Strength is medium plus, close to full. Technical term, kind of wonky. I will say that it was just the smoke was so thick and oily that it covered the entire mouth. Yeah. I know there's a reviewer that says it's like an oil slick on your tongue. It 100% was. It just covered completely. Into the second, if the first wasn't bold enough, hang on to your boots. Lots of earth, lots of floral notes, followed by dark black coffee and cinnamon spice. The retro is more coffee, floral sweetness, molasses, slightly nutty, ending with a spice note. Draw is still more loose than I like, but still gives lots of thick, oily smoke. Ash and burn still a little crazy, but no real problems. Finish is long and still reminds me of cinnamon with a sweet note. Strength is a little more into the full side. Into the final third, coffee, earth, mineral are the notes up front, followed by floral sweetness and still the cinnamon tingle on the lips and tongue. The retro is coffee, earth, slight cinnamon, and dark chocolate. Draw and ash is still the same. Smoke is still thick and full. Long finish, medium into a medium full, kind of full strength. The strength on it didn't reach like where your head spacing kind of full, but you could tell that it was kicking that line right there to where it was no longer medium, but it was really trying to creep over that one, that full mark. Pre-light experiences, I gave it a 19 out of 20. Flavor enjoyment, a 14 out of 15. Construction, I gave it a 9 out of 10. Draw, an 8 out of 10. It was a good cigar. It did give out good smoke, but it was still way more loose than I wanted it. The burn was excellent, 9 out of 10. Smoke production and texture, 5 out of 5. Really liked the smoke texture. Loved how full that smoke texture was. Overall experience, 18 out of 20. Would I smoke it again? Yeah, I'd buy a box, 9 out of 10. When you come up with all that, it gives me unwavering kind of numbers of 91.
I like that score.
Freaking 91.
We're pretty good at this, I think.
I'm starting to realize that we think a lot alike about this one. So tonight, hey Mick, what's go ahead and tell the score. Make sure you give the name, the cigar, and what the score is for tonight.
All right, so I'm going to preface that by saying I thought I survived this when you left Greg say the name of the cigar earlier. I thought I survived tonight because I still. So I'm going to say tonight, the Real Smoke podcast gives this fucking cigar a 91. There you go.
What cigar was it?
The Intimidador.
By what company?
Yep. I already lost this battle, man. There's no revisiting. I already lost this battle.
Oh Lord, that's so funny. So let's before we go into make sure guys we'll give you a couple of seconds to post hashtag Real Smoke in the comments before we go ahead and draw. We are going to draw tonight for two $25 gift cards to the Cigar Vault Oakdale. We'll do one more drawing for something from Beard Apothecary, and that'll be our thing for the night. So let's see. While y'all do that, I'll go ahead and read this. Let's see. Greg says the laughing is awesome. More like hooked on Ebonics.
Well, never mind.
It's okay. You don't have to cry, Chuck. Oh, I'm dying over here. Oh gosh. To Timidor Charles. To Timidor? Maybe not. Kleenex nearby for you, Chuck? Yes. Yes. Actually, yes.
Yeah, I could not have fucked that up any worse. So thank you all for tuning in. That's great.
New name for the podcast.
Wonky.
The Wonky Honkies. Slick like oil and nutty.
Devin, why are you in my bed?
Joke for the night. What's the difference between a honky and a redneck? The honky is a smart redneck. Oil deep nuts, Devin.
Jesus.
That's his new name. All right. Yeah. You guys are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go ahead and, guys, we're going to go ahead and draw. The first one is going to be for the gift cards from the Cigar Vault. You have to be in here to win. If we call your name, make sure you let us know that you're here. We need your name, address, phone number, and your email address. If you win the Beard Apothecary stuff, I just need your mailing name and address. So here we go. Let's see. We have 10 entries. Wow, only 10? That's horrible.
We had a ton of people on here earlier. That's crazy. Apparently, they didn't stick around for me fucking up that name.
Hold on one second. Let me get everything set up. My computer's freezing, guys. I am so sorry. Y'all know the week it's been. All right. Got to choose this one. So, I guess you guys got just a few more seconds to go ahead and type in hashtag Real Smoke.
Yeah, while he's getting that set up, sorry for fucking that up, Greg, but great night, man. We love your sticks. We really do, and I apologize tremendously. I will probably never say that correctly, so it's nothing personal.
All right, so let's go ahead and get this pulled up. There we go. Yay, go me. Hashtag Real Smoke. Let's spin it. We have 10 entries in. I was hoping we'd get more. But the winner of the first $25 gift card is...
What?
Oh, wow.
Let's
Big
play
Bear.
Jordan wins again. It's okay. We love you, Jordan, even though you're fucking with me over here.
All right, Jordan, if you're on here, make sure you post it in there. Let us know that you're on here. I know I just saw you. Oh.
Yes. No.
Jordan says, wow, he says a lot. He says he's
Heck yeah.
here. Awesome. So congratulations. Make sure, well, go ahead and just give us your information. We're about to post something probably either tonight or tomorrow about you anyways. So just saying, heads up.
Jordan wins again, but yes, I love you as well, brother.
Wins again. All right, drawing again. Here we go. This is for the other $25 gift card for Cigar Vault in Oakdale. The mash bill. The mash bill. If you're on here, make sure you post it in the comments. Let us know that you're on here. You have about 30 seconds. I think you've won something from us before. I'm not sure. Name sounds familiar.
I'm not sure. Not as often as Jordan, but I mean, nobody
think about that. Combined score again of a 91.
Yeah, I'm impressed, man. I either my palate's getting better.
Well, there's
or,
a couple of them on here.
Yeah.
Mine's getting worse.
I don't know. Maybe. No, it's
the mash bill says I'm here.
It is cool though, man. We've been so close on pretty much every cigar we've rated, so I'm very pleased with it. It's awesome.
Yeah, the mash bill said he won the patina hat with the Hat Palooza. That's awesome. Awesome. So we have one more giveaway. It is going to be a couple of products from Beard Apothecary. So huge thanks to Beard Apothecary for that one. Let's go ahead and draw that one. Let's see who wins the Beard Apothecary. Oh, wow. Rob.
Congratulations, Rob. You are growing that beard out just because of
Are
Brother
you
John.
on here? You've won a few, think. Big Rob, are you on here? Rob says he's on here, and he won the Beard Apothecary. So that is pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and stop the screen, and let's come back to here. All right, so our congratulations to Jordan, and which is Big Bear in the Mash Bill, for winning the Cigar Vault items. Make sure you send Mick your information. Send it on the podcast page. We need your name, address, phone number, and email address. And Rob, I think I have your information, but send it to me again. Just mailing name and address, and I will get all that stuff out next week. So yeah.
Yes, Jordan. If your stuff accidentally gets shipped to my house, I apologize. I must have transposed my address, so just let you know. But, no, I'm just kidding.
So let's see what else. What else is up? We have Cigar Public coming up, right?
We do. Little cigar news.
We have some cigar news with Cigar Public. So a couple things left. We have cigar news, meanwhile in Memphis, and then closing out the show. So before we jump into the cigar news, let's talk to our friends over at Cigar Public.
The news segment of the Real Smoke podcast is fired up by none other than Cigar Public. Dive into the world of cigars like never before at cigarpublic.com. Your one-stop destination for the latest cigar industry news, honest cigar reviews, whiskey articles, and so much more. It's everything you need to elevate your smoking game. Light up your curiosities at cigarpublic.com or follow them on Instagram at cigarpublic. Because life is too short for boring cigars and blend contact.
Huge thanks to everybody at Cigar Public for your news and your support. So we can't start off the week, or I guess end the week, without talking about probably the biggest news in cigars right now. And that is the fire at AJ Fernandez's factory in Esteli. So this is a day or so ago that they posted this. So I know there's more up-to-date information, and they'll be posting it out soon. But they posted on there, a massive fire continues to burn at AJ Fernandez tobacco factory in Esteli, causing several material losses. The blaze, which broke out on the morning of Monday, March 31st, has devastated the packaging area of the facility located on the road to Mayafor. Despite ongoing efforts by firefighters, the fire remains uncontrolled, which, that's been updated now. Authorities have not yet determined the cause of the incident, and the extent of the damages is still being assessed. I know that's been updated. They posted how much, what the total cost of, that fire has costed. Oh my gosh. They said no injuries have been reported at the time. I know there's a lot of photos going around everywhere, so there's every publication that is posting that information out, and I know there's more updated information, but everybody here, I know Mick and I both enjoy stuff from AJ Fernandez, and it wouldn't matter if it was a brand that we absolutely could not stand. We would hate to see that they had this issue, and they were, losing millions of dollars of product, or even buildings and things like that. So hate to hear that for you guys. Rob says on here it's $15 to $20 million in losses.
Wow. Yeah, it's we're glad to hear that there's obviously no real injuries and no loss of life from what I've read, but man, the cost associated with it, and it's a lot of brands that come out of that factory. So yeah, we heart goes out to them, man.
Yeah. I will be interested to see what actually. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a few more days before we find out exactly what is going to be affected by it completely. But hate to hear it for them.
Yeah.
My last one for the evening is going to be LOFB Cigars announces the Skinny Bastarda for PCA release. Miami, Florida, LOFB Cigars announces the release of the Skinny Bastarda to take place at PCA 2025 in New Orleans, launched in collaboration with Quesada Cigars. The Skinny Bastarda is a 5 1/4 by 42 Corona crafted by women for women. The Skinny Bastarda is being produced at the esteemed Casada factory in the Dominican Republic under the leadership of Raquel and Patricia Casada. The Casada factory boasts a rich heritage of tobacco cultivation and cigar production spanning over 50 years. The Casada family expertise and commitment to excellence ensures that the Skinny Bastarda embodies both tradition and innovation in a premium cigar craftsmanship. Known for its commitment to donating 40% of the net profits to men's mental health, the LOFB cigar is launching the Skinny Bastarda as a means to recognize and encourage further conversation around the vital role that women play in mental well-being of men. The Skinny Bastarda will be available in a 5-count pack with the MSRP of $39.99. This latest release by LOFB Cigars reaffirms the brand's dedication to craftsmanship along its ongoing mission to make meaningful impact in the cigar community. I haven't heard of that one, but it would be something that I would love to try.
We call that the Devon. Yeah, I've never heard of that as well. I've never heard of that as well, that brand. But it's awesome that they give back to men's mental health, and it sounds like something we should maybe look into. But no, it's not my typical size, but I'd be interested.
Got one more bonus one for you, and this is just for you.
Okay.
Foundation Cigars commemorates 10 years with a limited edition Anniversario blend. Foundation Cigar Company proudly announces the release of the Foundation 10-year Anniversario, a special cigar crafted to commemorate the decade of dedication to the art of premium cigars. This limited edition masterpiece will make its debut at the 2025 PCA Trade Show in New Orleans, held April 11th through the 14th, and will begin shipping to tobacconists nationwide in the summer or fall of 2025. Reflecting 10 years of passion, tradition, and innovation, the Foundation 10-year Anniversario showcases a meticulous curation blend offering aficionados an unparalleled smoking experience. This 7x58 Salomon features a unique hybrid wrapper combining Connecticut broadleaf, Connecticut Havana seed, bringing together the best of two storied tobaccos cultivated in rich soils of the Connecticut River Valley. Beneath the wrapper, a Montefina Brazilian binder and a complex blend of Nicaraguan fillers from Esteli, Jalapa, and Condega. This is going to be... I thought I had the price on it.
That's what I was waiting on.
If I'm right, the price isn't on here. If I'm right, I think it's a $30 cigar. Anybody who's on here who has heard about this one, let us know. But I think it's a $30 cigar. So I know how much you probably want to review that one. So I'll let you buy that one for us.
I've gone down that road before. If we decide to, I got you. There you go. But yeah.
Awesome. Cigar News brought to you by Cigar Republic. Thank you guys for all your support. We absolutely love you, and thank you for all that you do for us in the community. But before we get off here, let's go into Meanwhile in
Memphis.
Where? Wait, let's do this. Meanwhile in Memphis.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. I enjoy this. They're cool. All right. So I made those, by the way. Long story. Anyway, so I got 3 quick stories for you tonight. Each one I picked for a certain reason because I thought there was a funny part in them. Overall, they're not overly hilarious, but you may enjoy them because I've been wrong before. So my first one is thieves steal nearly $30,000 in jewelry from a Memphis store.
Dang it, Bobby.
Memphis, Tennessee. Police are looking for 2 men who walked out of a jewelry store with nearly $30,000 worth of jewelry in their pockets on Wednesday. So before I go any further, this had to be a fucking inside job. There's no way. Like the person behind the counter had to say, yeah, I'm just going to let him walk out and then we'll split it later. Needs its own ad. I know we need a sponsor,
Well,
Rob.
hey, Rob, do us a favor. Help us out. Meanwhile, Memphis does need its own ad. Find us a sponsor. We have 2 sponsorships left. And if we reach those 2 sponsorships, we will break 100% even on what we have to pay to run this podcast. So help us find 2 more sponsors. And one of them will be a Meanwhile in Memphis. And I will write some amazing ad copy for this. Just say, go ahead. Sorry, Mick.
No, you're good. All right. So tell me if this is an inside job. Police have released their pictures. I'm not going to show them here, but they have full pictures of these guys, so they shouldn't be hard to find. Memphis. Employees at the store said the men came into the store and asked to see several items of jewelry. As the clerk was helping someone else, the men apparently used sleight of hand to pocket $29,632 worth of jewelry and left the store without anyone noticing.
Nah, it wasn't an inside job.
Who the fuck puts $30,000 worth of jewelry on the counter and then walks away to help somebody else? Especially in Memphis. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. The men are still at large. They still haven't been caught. I don't know. I think it's an inside job.
Nah, it's not an inside job. It was somebody who was just too lazy to put it away. He's like, okay, so and so was looking at this jewelry. I'm just going to leave it here. I'll put it away later when I go closing. By the way, it's going to be over here.
Yeah, craziness. 30 grand just walked out the door and
Hey Mick, where were you at that time?
No comment. Next story. Police warn of online sales turning violent in Memphis.
Online sales turning violent? Online,
like Facebook
Craigslist?
Marketplace. I'll get there. Yes.
Okay.
So MPD warns the public that of a disturbing trend in Memphis, online sales that turn violent and turn into armed robberies. The MPD said that the officers are investigating a series of robberies connected to a fraudulent online sales where people arrange meetings through an online service like Facebook Marketplace only to become the victim of violent crime. We urge the community to be vigilant and take necessary precautions when meeting with individuals for online transactions, said MPD.
Mitch just found out where the jewelry's at.
Okay. It's in the sinkhole. I'm getting there, Mitch, but thank you. I'm getting there. Great teaser, brother. Thank you. All right. So one of those incidents happened on February 28th when an online deal to buy and sell a vehicle programmer turned into a shootout in a Cordova parking lot. What would they need a vehicle programmer for in Memphis? Anyway, I'll go on to the next one. Another happened on March 13th when a man showed up to deal arrange. That doesn't even make sense. The writing's terrible. A deal arranged on Facebook Marketplace to sell a car that may have been stolen, only to be greeted by 4 teenagers with a gun who robbed him. The third one was a PlayStation 5 that the guy did not have, and he robbed him and took his wallet. Be on the lookout. People are making online sales, and they're fraudulent, and they're going to fucking rob you.
And they're fraudulent.
Yeah. All right, so the last one. A hole the size of a studio apartment appeared in Cooper Young. Residents are shocked by the size of this pothole. So my wife corrected me. I know I said this on the Herf the other night that we drove down that street. We did not drive down that street. We drove down the one next to it. So thank goodness, I could have died. But Memphis, Tennessee, Cooper Young, where we hang out quite a bit. There's a lot of great breweries down there. Kind of a hipster area. Cool area, though. A pothole and a sinkhole the size of a studio apartment opened up in Midtown Memphis. On the surface, it appears to be a pothole 1 foot in diameter on Nelson Avenue, just east of Cooper Street. However, the social media video shows. Do we have the video?
No, we do not. I can't
so
play
going
it
with the
because
video.
we'll get copyright stricken.
All right, so I'll just break it down. Literally, it's like a 15 by 20 and probably 8-foot deep hole underneath of the macadam. There is a 1 foot by 1 foot that you see above it. The city's explanation that they're going to fix it. They're going to. There you go. It's that's pretty much it. They are going to put a steel plate over that and roll on. It's insane. There's a video of a guy crawling out of the hole. It's freaking huge. My truck would literally fit in it. Yeah, it's pretty much the size of this room underneath the macadam. It's crazy. So, but yeah, they're gonna put a steel plate over it. I'll probably drive over it this weekend. And meanwhile, in Memphis.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was looking at some of the videos and stuff like that because it actually hit my news. It hit my local news the day before you was telling us, and it was like, oh my gosh. So I had it in my list of stuff when I saw you on the HERF that I was like, I gotta tell Mick about this, and you already jumped all over it. So
yeah, insanely huge hole underneath that ground, man. It's you could literally live down there. It's crazy.
Well, guys, I just want to say for the guys in the chat who just completely blew up the chat earlier, thank you guys. I literally needed a laugh like that today. That helped me out so much. So you guys were great for my mental well-being. So thanks for all that. Thanks for everybody who watched tonight. You guys were awesome. Greg is always a fun show. Next week we have on April 10th we have Austin and Jose of Mayfiend Cigars, so they will be our guest on next week. We'll have the boys on, and we've had them again on the TriStar Herf crew, and they are two awesome guys to talk to. Their story of growing up together is pretty awesome, so can't wait to talk to them on here and introduce everybody to them. So great cigar tonight. Got a combined 91 from you and I. So we're not coming together with the exact same score every night, but we do hit it quite often lately. So
We do.
Congratulations to Fortaleza y Libre or Fortaleza y Libre cigars, and Greg for a great score on your awesome cigar. So appreciate that. You want to close us out tonight?
Yeah, man. Greg, yeah, as Charles said, great show. Thank you for naming your company something I can't say and giving everybody a good laugh tonight. It was a great show. We always love having Greg and spend some time with him. And take time this week, smoke a great cigar with someone you love, and we'll catch you next week with another great show.
Thanks for jumping on here, everybody. We absolutely love it, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks, Mick.
See you, brother. Thanks.
See you.